Welcome everybody, Shimmering Skies is 2 weeks away and oh my goodness, there's so many cards to review, including a set 6 card. What? Anna is up first and it's a bad start, but trust me, it gets better. She's a 3 cost, uninkable 1/3 quest for 1. This card actually to me seems like a card that was aimed at dealing with Bucky, but Bucky's now been nerfed. Because when you play this character, each opponent chooses a ready character and exerts them. So your opponent plays Bucky on 2, you play Anna on 3. If Bucky's the only readied character, they have to exert the Bucky. You can remove Bucky. Pretty cool, right? But obviously now Bucky's been nerfed. I don't think this is going to see any play. I don't think it's really good enough. But if there's any other pesky ward characters, this could be a way of getting rid of them. So that's definitely something to keep in mind down the line. It's also going to be better than Pinocchio in a format where there's multiple players, so more than 2. But obviously most of us are just playing constructed or 1v1. So that's not going to be too relevant for now. But yeah, definitely to me seems like a card which was going to be a really exciting card as a potential answer for Bucky. But not going to be necessary and therefore doesn't seem very good for now. Up next we have one of the first D23 cards. This is like the new promo set. It's going to cost between £96 to £97. It's going to be available at Disney stores, Disney parks on the 9th of August, which is the same day Shimmering Sky releases. You get one card from each set, which is Mickey Mouse Brave Little Tailor, Cinderella Stout-Hearted, Ursula Deceiver, Bruno Madrigal, Vanellope Von Schweetz, and then also a Sec 6 card, which we're going to look at after this as well. She's the Sugar Rush Princess. I can't talk. 2 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 2. I like this card, you know. So to be clear, this is the same artwork that's going to be on the normal card, but this has like an extended art around the text box, and there's also some foil, which of course isn't going to be on the standard one in packs. So whenever you play another princess character, all opposing characters get -1 strength until the start of your next turn. Princess deck support. There's also some other Vanellope Von Schweetz cards which have been revealed, which cost 1 and 2. I think this card's really good. I think the obvious place that comes to mind with this card is going to be in an Emerald and Amber deck, where you can synergize this with the Muses and with Under the Sea, which are cards which are benefiting from having characters on your opponent's side of the board with 2 strength or less. A big problem with Under the Sea and Amber at the moment is your main way is Kida, but you play Kida, and unless you shift her, you can't sing Under the Sea with her instantly because she's drying. So you need to shift Kida in and then have another character which costs 3 or has Singer 3 or more to sing Under the Sea, and it's very, very clunky. Whereas what Vanellope does is you play her, and it's not the turn you play her that she's making that splash in terms of lowering opposing character strength. So you can play her, then you can play a princess the following turn, and then you can sing with Vanellope. So I think it's got really nice synergy with Under the Sea in particular, and it's a really interesting card. Friar Tuck stat line, which I think is a good stat line. Decent tags. Exciting card. You can get it through on turn 2. Yeah, cool. We have a set 6 card. Hello. It's a very good card. It's a 2 cost uninkable. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. It is 2 strength, 1 willpower. Again, this is in the D23 set. And it is questing for 2. Favorable chance during your turn. Whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an item, you may play that item for free and they enter play exerted. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of your deck. So, you play Oswald on turn 2. Turn 3, you ink. On top of your deck, you have a Lucky Dime, and suddenly you've got Lucky Dime on turn 3. Hello! That's just good. And it quests for 2. Like, this card is almost, like, playable without the ability. It is 1 willpower lower, and it's uninkable, compared with, like, a vanilla card, which would be like a 2 cost inkable 2/2 quest for 2, like Aurora from the first chapter. So the stats on the card are pretty good, and the ability is amazing. Is this going to be a legendary card? We don't know. It seems incredible, though. Wow. This is a very good card. Of course, it's not going to be legal in set 5. Don't panic. It is a set 6 card, so therefore will only be legal from set 6 onwards. But that's cool. We get to see a little sneak peek into set 6. Up next, we have a legendary Genie. And this is my first time reading this card. It's a 7 cost uninkable, 5 strength, 5 willpower quest for 2. It's a legendary in Amethyst. Spectacular Entertainer. When this character is exerted, opposing characters cannot ready at the start of your opponent's turn. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now, I have to say, one thing that comes to mind, which is probably a meme and not the best use case for this, is the Hades from set 4, where you could shift this genie onto another genie, which would allow you to quest the turn it comes through. That's kind of cool. So in some kind of Emerald Amethyst deck, because there are cheaper genies in both Emerald and Amethyst, so that's pretty cool. Otherwise, you're going to play it on turn 7. You're going to have to wait a turn and then you can quest with it. But it's got a lot of potential. Your opposing characters not being able to ready at the start of your opponent's turn is really, really, really good. They've got a Maui. I don't care, mate. And it's very difficult to remove. This seems like it's going to be a really nice card in a Amethyst Sapphire deck, which is a color combination which hasn't been very competitive recently, simply because you can ramp into it very quickly. Possibly Amber could be an option as well, because you could try and get it down early with something like Gaston or Doc and these kinds of cards. But in particular, I have to say Sapphire Amethyst. I think you do want to try and get this guy down nice and early, so you can make use of its ability as soon as possible, because it is going to be a bit slow otherwise. Entering the board on turn 7, questing on turn 8 is then very likely to be getting removed if you're not careful. Of course, Maleficent Dragon would be in that kind of range, but I don't know. Maybe that's a bit unfair. Basically, I think you just need to play this before turn 7 for it to be good. And I think that there's going to be a lot of decks that can do that. And I think this card looks incredibly powerful, and I'm sure it's one people are very excited for. Up next, we have Robin Hood, who's a 2-cost Ingall, 2 strength, 2 willpower, quest for 1, Master Stroke. When you play this character, if an opponent has a damaged character in play, you gain 1 lore. Sounds pretty fun in an Amethyst deck, right? Where you can bounce it almost like a goat. It's not gaining lore when it leaves play like a goat is, but you could play it multiple times. It's going to be a decent shift target. Moreover, I think you could play this on 2, gain 1 lore, and then shift Robin Hood on 3. There's a couple shift Robin Hoods on 3 now, so it's an interesting card. Definitely doesn't set the world alight with its stat line being subpar. Again, it's 1. Yeah, actually, do you know what? I don't like this card. The thing is, a standard stat line, like I've mentioned, like Aurora, like a vanilla stat line would be questing for 2. So you're losing 1 lore to gain this ability, and the ability is just gaining a lore, and not all the time. I don't think it's great. This card is wild. This card is absolutely mental. 1 cost inkable location, Merlin's Cottage, the Wizard's Home. It's a Sapphire card. It costs 1 to move a character there. Although it doesn't appear to, there appears to be very little reason to do that. 7 willpower, which is a lot. Knowledge is power. Each player plays with the top card of their deck face up. Pardon? Excuse me? What? Bruno Madrigal, the 4-cost Inkable from set 4, which is also in the D23, by the way, is going to absolutely adore this card. My goodness, this card is wild. So both players get to see what's on top. Synergy with cards like Scuttle, potentially. Not Scuttle as much. But there's like, for example, the Mulan card in Amber, which when you play it, I think, it looks at the top card of your deck. If it's a song, you get to play it for free. Like, there's so many potential synergies of this card, and it's just going to change the dynamic of the game significantly. I absolutely love it. Funnily enough, if Whole New World is played and a Merlin's Cottage is down on the board, the way it would resolve is, obviously the top card of your deck is already face up, so you draw the face up card, and then you have to put the other card face up, so your opponent gets to see your whole hand. That's pretty cool. Damn, this card's crazy. This card's absolutely wild. I love the look of this set. The devs are just so good on this game, man. Big shout out to the devs for these awesome card designs. So exciting. Up next, we have Iago, the fake Flamingo, 4-cost Ingall, 2 strength, 4 willpower. It's evasive. It quests for 1. In disguise, whenever this character quests, you may pay 2 ink less for the next action you play this turn, and it's a rare. I'm not convinced. Not convinced by this one. So far, we haven't really seen any cards which are reducing the cost of actions to be particularly powerful. Funnily enough, a deck where this could be useful is a mill deck, because mill decks tend to have a lot of removal. Cards like Fire the Cannons, cards like Babooms, cards like Grab Your Swords and Whole New Worlds. But yeah, I don't really think it's going to be great. Up next, we have Ed, the hysterical partygoer, 4-cost uninkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 3. Rowdy guest, damaged characters can't challenge this character. That's pretty powerful in an aggressive deck. As far as he's concerned, there's no such thing as bad taste. Questing for 3 on turn 4 is no joke. Friar Tuck stat line with the 2/4, pretty difficult to remove. Quest for 1 more than Friar Tuck, of course. It is uninkable. It seems pretty good. In an aggressive Emerald Steel deck in particular, that seems like the most obvious place for this. It's very cool. Similar to Tiana in a sense, right? Pretty similar to Tiana in a sense. I like the card. I do. It is brawlable. It is Medusa-able. But it's an interesting card, no doubt about it. I will also say this is an interesting card. But yeah. I like both cards. Don't know if either are amazing, but I could see both of them finding a home. Alright, now I've got a bunch of dwarfs. I haven't actually read all the dwarfs. So obviously in the second set, and there was a starter deck, there was a bunch of dwarfs which never saw any play outside of Doc and very occasionally Sneezy. But a lot of those dwarfs are that didn't see play, and there's also a Snow White card which is gaining value like for more dwarfs you play, like it's reducing the cost of dwarfs. So the more dwarfs, the better those other dwarfs become. That's worth bearing in mind. So those dwarfs are all in amber, these are all in steel, so potentially a amber steel theme dwarf deck. Bashful Adoring Knight is the first one. 4 cost inkable, 3 strength, 4 willpower. It's a knight, by the way, which is important to remember. And it laws for 1. Impress the princess. While you have a character named Snow White in play, this character gains bodyguard. 3/4 bodyguard that quests for 1. That's not even good, mate. I'm sorry. Joshua Sweet in amber is a 1/5 bodyguard that quests for 2 and it costs 4. This card's not very good. Sorry, Bashful. Up next, we've got Sneezy. Bear in mind, a lot of these cards probably get better the more of them you use. Sneezy, Noisy Knight, 4 cost inkable, 3/4, quest for 1. Wait, that sounds familiar. All the same tags. Headwind. When you play this character, chosen knight character gains Challenger 2 this turn. Not gonna lie, Sneezy. Not very good either. Yeah. It's like worse than a crab. Significantly worse than a crab, isn't it? It's really bad. Looks like the starter deck cards. I'm a bit disappointed by the first 2 dwarfs. Let's see if I change my opinion. Sleepy, the Sluggish Knight. It's a 0/4 bodyguard, which quests for 1. And it costs 2. This card's kind of good. If you compare it to Simba and Kida, they're 2 3s. This is a 0/4. So you get a little bit more protection, but you get 1 extra willpower, but you lose 2 strength. But it's also got a bunch of different tags. Now, while you're losing 2 strength to gain 1 willpower as a bodyguard, the willpower you could argue is more important. The thing is, something like Simba is going to be trading with a lot of characters, whereas Sleepy is not. So I'm not thrilled about Sleepy either. Happy, 2/1, 1 cost character which quests for 1. During a turn, this character gains evasive. That's a card. Now that is a card. All these dwarfs, very bad, I think. Very, very bad, honestly. This one's like not that bad. But this is really good. Something Diablo answer on turn 1. That is nice. Obviously, Diablo's got lots of ways of removing this with things like singing, Storm Rage on and whatnot. But Happy just seems good, doesn't it? It's a dwarf. It's a knight. It's got evasive during your turn. It's a 2/1, quest for 1. That's pretty good. I actually like this card a lot. Grumpy, the Skeptical Knight is a 3 cost inkable, 3/1, quest for 1. Boon of Resilience. It's a super rare. What? While one of your knight characters is at a location, that character gains resist +2. And during your turn, this character gains evasive. Super rare. This is called the Skeptical Knight, and I'm skeptical about this card. I'm trying to like process it. The problem is like, let's say you play it on turn 3. How likely are you to have a location and moreover have a knight at the location? And do you really care about having a knight at a location have resist 2? I don't really think so. And during your turn, this character gains evasive. That's nice, but there's cards like Sir Hiss, Pegasus with 3/1 stat line, which cost 2. So you're paying a whole extra ink to have some different tags and the Boon of Resilience. I don't think so. I don't think it's very good. Worth noting, if this is at a location itself, it also gains resist itself. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really like it. Dopey is a 3-cost Inkable. Knight Apprentice. 2 strength, 2 willpower. Quest for 1. Stronger together. When you play this character, if you have another knight character in play, you may deal 1 damage to chosen character or location. Dopey's actually not bad. It's not great. Definitely not great. Could be an interesting bounce target, I will say. 1 damage can go a long way. That's for sure. So, I don't mind Dopey. Definitely don't mind Dopey, but obviously it's reliant on having other knights. And most of the other knights are pretty bad. So, not convinced. Doc! Doc was the star of the show with the first set of knights. Let's see. 2 cost uninkable. 1/3. Quest for 1. It's the Bold Knight. When you play this character, you may discard your hand to draw 2 cards. Now that's good. Right? That is a very powerful tool for an aggro deck. So, you've got a hyper aggro deck. Let's say you're playing Amethyst Steel with Befuddles and Maleficence and whatnot. You whittle down your hand. You've run out of Befuddles. You don't really want to play Rabbits in a deck like this. Instead, you whittle down your hand. You've got no cards left. Bam! In comes Doc. Draw 2. That's how you're supposed to use this card. This card's good. But probably not in like an all-in Dwarf deck. But more as like a standalone card in a hyper aggro build. Most likely Amethyst Steel, because I think Befuddle is just a good card for a deck like this. If you just wanted to dump its hand early, but possibly. Amber, we've seen the new Daisy Duck card. Doc looks good. I like it. Up next, we have Snow White, the Fair-Hearted. 5 cost, uninkable, super rare, 3 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 3. I'm getting better at this. She's a natural leader. This character gains resist 1 for each other knight character you have in play. So I can have resist 7 and then Medusa gets it. Oh. Unlucky. Is this one good? Not really. I don't think. I'm not going to lie. The dwarfs seem kind of bad. Sorry. They weren't great in set 2. I'm not convinced they're that great anymore. It's possible, though, that there's some dwarfs from set 2 which now got better. I do like the look of Happy in particular. I think Happy's my favourite. I think Dopey's okay. Doc is good. Snow White. Friendship is the best armour for all. Well, there you go. You've got the power of friendship. But I'm not convinced that these are going to see any competitive play. Looks like fun. Does look like fun. But I think that a lot of these dwarfs are just too weak. Like, I think Grumpy, Sleepy, Sneezy, Bashful all could have done with being a little bit better. In particular, Bashful, Sneezy. I really don't like the look of those. Up next, we have Scar. Long live the king. 5 cost, inkable, 6 strength, 3 willpower. You're not getting Medusa. Quest for 2. When you play this character, you may banish chosen character named Mufasa. I like it. I actually like it quite a lot. So, it's 5 cost. You could play Just in Time into this if you really wanted to. You're probably not going to do that. But obviously, Ruby Amber does have Mufasa decks. I've been very critical of Mufasa in the past, but suddenly you can quest for 2 of Mufasa and then banish it and high roll something big. You're going to be using this on your own Mufasa. It's very unlikely you're ever finding your opponent to have a Mufasa. There's like this Moana card from the first set which can banish Ter-Kar, which has never been relevant. But the idea of this one is that you play this in a Mufasa deck of your own. You sacrifice your own Mufasa. Is it good? I don't think so. I think it's alright. It's not a bad card to find off your own Mufasa. And it is an interesting option. It allows you to quest for 2 with Mufasa and high roll something off the top while playing Scar. So it could absolutely pop off. If you play this, you quest for 2 with Mufasa, you play this and high roll a Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, it's good. But if you hit something worse, it's not going to be good at all, right? But I think this has some potential. I could see it actually making the cut in Mufasa decks. Up next, we have Medal of Heroes. And it's a bit of an odd art, like a bit out of place in some ways. You have etched in the rock of virtue a legacy beyond compare. And that's not to say anything bad against Tony Bruno. Let me know what this is from. Is this from like Wreck-It Ralph or something? Because I don't recognize it. It's 2 cost inkable. Item. Oh, it's an item. Congratulations, soldier. You can exert and spend 2 ink to banish this item. And a chosen character of yours gets +2 lore this turn. So you're paying 4 to gain 2 lore. That sounds bad. However, if you're able to use this on a character which you're also going to tap the lucky dime on, you're spending 4 to gain 4 lore. And suddenly, that sounds a lot more reasonable. Of course, the other thing you could do with this card is give this to a character which can quest multiple times in a single turn. Like there's an aerial card that can do that. Moreover, I think with Lucky Dime, is it going to see play? I struggle to see a world where it does. But maybe. It is definitely an interesting option, especially in like a more aggressive Sapphire deck. It is guaranteed lore, right? Unless it gets removed by item removal. But it's an interesting card. Seems a bit expensive for my taste. Up next we have Sven the Reindeer Steed, which is a 4-cost inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower quest for 2. Reindeer games, when you play this character, you may ready chosen character, they can't quest or challenge for the rest of this turn. So this card's great, first and foremost. Think about LeFou from Ruby. This is like a more expensive LeFou, which in many ways is good, because a lot of the times I would want to play LeFou later than turn 2. Like LeFou on turn 2 doesn't feel great, but LeFou is a very interesting card, and this just has a bigger body, quest for 2, and is obviously in a different ink color. I think there's a lot of potential. I want to shout out my friend Paul from Locals, who thinks that this card is really good. They've been spotting potentially some synergy with songs in this card, right? You can sing something, ready it with Sven, and sing again with that character. That's pretty exciting. I like the look of it. I think Sven in an aggro deck to just ready something which is questing for a bunch is good. I like the card a lot. I think it could be really good. Basil Practice Detective. There is a Basil shift. Let's not forget, it's a 2-1 with support and quest for 1. This is a very, very, very good card. This is a great card. If I'm not mistaken, all of the support characters which cost 1 that we've seen so far are 1/2s, like Hey Hey and Amber. And a 2-1 is a much better stat line for a 1-drop card, in my opinion. At least for one that's questing for 1. And with support, this is a really good card. This is actually phenomenal. And Sapphire has a real lack of good 1-cost characters. Obviously, you've got Develop Your Brain and Popsicle. But Basil Practice Detective is one of the best 1-drops around right now. Obviously, there's this Alice card as well. The legendary from, I think, set 2. Which has never worked out. Is Basil going to be enough to support it? There's a Basil shift character. Basil Practice Detective looks great. I think this card's going to see a lot of play. I've got a good feeling about it. It'll be really nice to see Sapphire decks playing characters on turn 1 rather than just items. Cool card. One to keep an eye on. Break Free, a 1-cost inkable action. It doesn't draw a card, so these are always very difficult to actually include. Deal 1 damage to chosen character of yours. They gain rush and gain +1 strength this turn. The most obvious application for Break Free by far seems to be Hydra. Hydra is that 6-cost legendary from set 3, which whenever damage is dealt to this, you can deal damage to an opposing character. So you can play it on, let's say, turn 7. You play Hydra. You deal 1 damage to it, which allows you to deal 1 damage to one of your opponent's characters. You can rush in with it, remove a threat, and then however much strength that opposing character you challenge has, Hydra's going to take that damage and you could remove a bunch of characters at once. Now that sounds great until you realize that you would need 7 ink and multiple cards in hand to do this. Big problem with cards like this is that they don't replace themselves, they don't draw cards. So unfortunately, I doubt that it's going to be any good. But it's interesting. It is interesting. No doubt about it. Merryweather Good Fairy, a 1-cost inkable character with 1 strength and 2 willpower, quest for 1 in Emerald. It's a fairy. And Ray of Hope. When you play this character, you may pay 1 ink to give chosen character +2 strength this turn. The most beautiful color is blue. Why are you in Emerald then, huh? I don't really like the look of Merryweather, to be honest. This kind of ability is not really what you want on a 1-cost character, right? Like, when you don't want to play this on turn 1, do you? So that kind of makes it seem very bad to me. Maybe in a Rockstar Stitch deck, but you're also paying for the 2 strength. This card's bad. Up next, we've got some Wreck-It Ralph cards. 3-cost inkable It Felix Jr, the Trusty Builder. 2 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 1. It's a bodyguard. So 3-cost bodyguard, 2/4/1 lore. Is that good? I'm going to go ahead and say no. If you compare this to Simba from first set, Simba's a 2/3, but costs 2. Would you rather have a bodyguard on turn 2 or turn 3? You'd obviously rather have it on turn 2. you're paying 1 extra ink for 1 extra willpower. That doesn't seem like a very good value to me. So I think this card's bad. Fix It Felix Jr. This is a shift. Okay. So suddenly there's a big reason to play the Trusty Builder. And this is the Niceland Steward. 4 strength, 5 willpower, 1 lore, shift 3. Your locations get +2 willpower. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Wreck-It Ralph, that's all I got to say about that one, sorry. Wreck-It Ralph, Admirable Underpants, 7 cost uninkable, 6 strength, 7 willpower, quest for 2. It's a rare. I've got the coolest friend. When you play this character, return a character card from your discard to your hand. If that card is a princess character card, gain 2 lore? That's very, very weird, but very good. Very interesting. I like it. I like gaining lore. I like that this card is doing something as soon as it enters play. 7 cost uninkable in Amber is expensive. You do have some ways of getting this down before turn 7 already available in Amber. Dock, Heart of Atlantis, Lantern, Pluto. So there's definitely the potential of playing this before turn 7. You don't necessarily need to get to 7 ink. Of course, you could pair it with Sapphire as well. You could pair it with like with Steel, so you can hold New World, which helps replenish your hand. Getting to 7 without any ramp tool is going to be difficult, but Amber does have some tools. Princess character, gain 2 lore. So you add a princess back to your hand like a Hades, but with a 6/7 body, 2 strength, and you gain 2 lore, like a goat almost. This card seems good. It really does. I don't know what princesses you're going to be putting back with Admiral Underpants, but I love the name. That is a very exciting card. I'm really excited to use this one and try it out. This set looks banging. I'm not going to lie. I feel like this set is going to be a real improvement on Ursa's Return. I liked Ursa's Return. I didn't like Diablo and Bucky stuff so much, admittedly. Bucky's getting nerfed, and we got all these new cards. I'm excited. We've got the Sugar Rush Speedway, which is a 1-cost uninkable location. It costs nothing to move characters there. Wow, okay. 5 willpower. Once per turn, you may exert chosen character here and deal 1 damage to move them to another location for free. That's so cool. That's such a thematic design. Shout out to the design team yet again. So you can just move something, scoop, move it to the Speedway, move it elsewhere. Of course, if there's a character which is benefiting from moving to multiple locations per turn, that's going to be really good. So there's the Hey and Ruby, like the 2 costs whenever it moves to a location, your opponent loses 1 lore. I think there's also like an Emerald Peter Pan, which has never seen any play, which does something every time it moves to a location. Very interesting. But is it good? No. No, it is not. I don't think. Uninkable, clunky. I don't really see it being good, but I could be very wrong. It could be bonkers. But I don't think so. It's cool, though. King Candy up next, which is a 2/2 quest for 1. This is the standard stat line, vanilla stat line of a 1-cost character. But it's a king, it's a racer, it's a villain, it's a storyborn. And there is a new King Candy shift target, my sweet subject. I can, without a pinch of hesitation, assure you that I've never been so happy. King Candy Abomination. There's also Turbo here, which was revealed earlier in the month, which has the text, this character also counts as being named King Candy for shift. So I did want to draw your attention to that. There's Morph, there's this King Candy, but also if you're pairing it with Ruby, you've got Turbo as an option as well. King Candy, shift 3, 5 cost uninkable, 3/3 quest for 2. When you play this character, you may draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of the deck, of your deck. Wow, that's good. Damn, that's good. Oh, man, that's good. And it's not just when you shift it. It's whenever you play it, right? When you play this. So do you know what? Okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm not even that interested in the shift. You know what I'm interested in? Just in time. Just in time King Candy. You heard it here first. I'm so playing that. Just in time King Candy. Just in time is this 3-cost uninkable action from set 1 in Amber. It was my favorite set 1 card. It's a 3-cost and you can play a 5-cost character or less from your hand. So you whack down just in time. King Candy comes through. You draw 2, and you put another one of your pesky just-in-times on the bottom of your deck, for example. That's a cool bit of synergy. The fact that you're drawing 2, and it's not one of the 2 cards that you drew necessarily, it's any card from your hand. So it's similar to a card which is drawing 2 and discarding 1. So it's very, very similar to Strike a Good Match, but with a body. And I like Strike a Good Match. I think Strike a Good Match is a pretty good card. So honestly, I quite like King Candy. I will say, for a 5-cost character, it's pretty expensive, but equally you're playing Sapphire, where 5-cost characters can sing Whole New World, obviously not in Sapphire, but very commonly. You go Mickey Mouse on 3 or Fishbone Quill on 3, King Candy on 4, draw some more cards, tuck away that second Whole New World that you don't want. It seems like it's got potential. I like the card a lot. I'm loving these cards. This set looks so much fun. Oh my goodness. Can I just take this moment to just say, I am so grateful for being able to make videos on this card game. This card game is so good. And bit of a moment. Wow. 3-cost Ingall action. Song. Hello, Ursula the Deceiver of All. Somebody says, when will my life begin? Great song. I do love a bit of Tangled. Chosen character can't challenge during the next turn. Draw a card. Stuck in some place I've always been. Relatable. Seems okay. It draws a card. Any song which draws a card, I'm always interested in. And I think it's got some potential. Not really sure where you're going to use it that much. Maybe in some kind of like aggro Amber Steel songs deck. You could sing it with Ariel, for example, and then quest out with everything else, and your opponent can't challenge you. Obviously, in an Emerald Steel deck with Ursula Deceiver of All, you draw 2, and your Ursula couldn't be challenged by the cards on your opponent's side of the board, so that's kind of interesting. It doesn't seem amazing, but it does seem like it could be relevant. Not convinced, though, but again, any song which draws a card can never be that bad, so that's worth considering. Good with Sleepy's Flutes and things like that. Up next we have Prince Phillip. Is there a card in the game that has more cards than Prince Phillip? Is there? Because I doubt it. I don't know what it is, but Prince Phillip always seems to get super rares. Is there a card in the game that has more super rares than Prince Phillip? 7 cost, maybe it's only the second one. 7 cost Inkable, 3 strength, 9 willpower. Quest for 3, it's in Emerald. Dragon Slayer. When you play this character, you may choose and banish an opponent's dragon character. Goodbye, Sisu. That's the main dragon that comes to mind. Maleficent as well. Although I guess only Maleficent Dragon has the dragon tag. I don't think Maleficent Elephant. That's right, Maleficent Elephant has a dragon tag. Take advantage of the advantage. When this character challenges a damaged character, ready him at the end of the challenge. Pretty cool. So it could be similar to a Scar that on deploy can remove dragons. 3-cost Sisu is very common. If it's a dragon-dominated meta, Prince Phillip's your man. It seems okay. I don't love it, but honestly, Emerald doesn't have many cards which cost 7 or more, which I like the look of. In fact, Emerald has no cards which cost 7 or more that I like the look of. This I don't mind. This, in my opinion, is the best Emerald card in the game which costs 7 or more. That's a character, because I'm not including Under the Sea in that. So that's worth considering. Maybe it's alright. And, not finally, nearly finally, we've got Rudy, which is a 1-cost Inkable 2/2. Quest for 1, the Groove Disruptor. The Illuminati can't handle this much groove. We have to keep the noise down or it'll fall apart for sure. And Carlito, aka Pete. This is Pete. It's a legend. It's a super rare. And this art joins up with Mickey Mouse Steamboat. Quest for 2, 6, 6, 7, cost, Inkable. Long day. Disappear. When you play this character, if you have a character named Pete in play, you may banish chosen opposing character. Well, that's pretty good. It's like a Maleficent Dragon that costs 2 less if you have a character named Pete in play. And you could bounce it for more Petes, maybe. Seems kind of good. It's got potential. Pete theme deck. It's going to live or die by the Pete. I have to say, the rest of the Pete cards seem bad. Some might even say that the Pete, if you try and play the Pete theme deck, it's going to go a bit Pete Tong. I don't really understand that reference. I think it's Cockney rhyming slang, but it just means that it's not going to go very well for you. This card does look good though, but a lot of the other Pete cards suck, to be honest. So unfortunately, that means this card is not very good, I think. But maybe more Pete cards will come out, and this will be a banger. Finally, I alluded to it earlier, Madam Mim Elephant. Super rare. 4 cost, Ingall, 3 strength, 7 willpower, quest for 1, Storyborn Villain Sorcerer, not a dragon, confirmed. A little game. When you play this character, banish. Oh wait, I said Maleficent Dragon. There is a Madam Mim Dragon as well though. Forgive me. When you play this character, banish her or return another chosen character of yours to your hand. So working in the exact same way as a fox or a snake. Sneaky move, at the start of your turn, you may move up to 2 damage counters from this character to chosen opposing character. So, first thing to talk about with this card is obviously any more bounce cards have to kind of be good. We know the power of bounce. It's just a very good mechanic. And it's got an insane stat line of 3 strength, 7 willpower. It does get Medusa'd, but if it gets Medusa'd, you've bounced something back. You might have drawn, you might have gained lore, etc. The other thing to consider, though, is that 4 cost is a very competitive range for Amethyst cards. Goat, Rabbit, Dolores Madrigal, Queen's Castle. There's so many bangers. So, I doubt you're going to play 4 copies of Madam Mim Elephant, if I'm honest. The other thing to consider is the sneaky move ability is pretty hard to actually get through, because you're going to play Madam Mim on turn 4, let's say. Then on turn 5, you can challenge with them. And then if they're still on the board come turn 6, that's when you could make use of their ability. So quite slow to get the sneaky move ability through unless you've got other ways of moving damage counters to it. And then you can do it instantly, like the turn after you've played it on turn 5. So sneaky move, while it looks like a great upside, I don't think it's going to be relevant that often. But it's a flipping unit. 3/7 and bounce. It's got to be good. It's got to be. It is a super rare, and I think it deserves to be. I'm really excited for it. These cards, this is my favorite set of reveals so far. This was my favorite set of reveals so far. We start off with Anna, who I think is a quick recap, not great. Vanellope, thumbs up from me. Oswald is set 6 and looks absolutely mind-blowingly good. Genie, it's a legendary. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. We've got Robin Hood, who I think is pants. Got Merlin's Cottage, which is just mind-blowingly cool. Iago, who I'm not convinced by. Ed, who looks alright. Bashful looks pants. Sneezy looks pants. Sleepy looks pants. Happy looks good. Grumpy looks eh. Dopey looks alright. Not really. It's fine. We've got Snow White, who I don't really rate. Scar, who looks kind of cool, but I'm not convinced it's that competitive, but it looks fun. Medal of Heroes. Eh. Sven, I think, looks great. Basil looks fantastic. Break Free, probably not going to see any play. Merryweather looks like one of the worst character cards I've ever seen, honestly. Maybe Merryweather's going to make me eat my words. It Felix is bad, but the Junior is also not much better. Wreck-It Ralph is fascinating, and I'm really excited to try it out. I think it could be great. Sugar Rush Speedway is very cool and very thematic. I'm just unconvinced by its power. King Candy is standard. This King Candy is very cool, very interesting. When Will My Life Begin is like, could be alright. It's definitely not bad. Prince Phillip is probably the best 7 cost plus card we now have in Emerald. Good in a dragon meta, could be interesting for sure. Rudy is Rudy. I watched Emperor's New Groove for the first time recently. I'm glad to see I've got a Rudy card. Pete is cool, but lacks good Pete cards. And Madam Mim looks very interesting. I'm probably going to see competitive play. But I don't think it's a 4 of necessarily. Thanks so much for watching. Reveal season is so exciting. Give the video a like. If you watch this far, the key word in the comments, because I see you all, is keep the noise down. Cheers.